Hi, Wimby family. So there's something different coming up this week, and that is that we're having small group pullouts with our learning assistants from the school. So some of you met Mrs. Lynn Todd. She's the ESL or English Language Learner specialist at our school. And then we also have our learning support assistant, whose name is Mrs. Rumbold. So you may have seen them before in the school. They are going to be working with our class over the next couple of weeks for a few periods here and there. And so they are going to be providing support to students who need a little bit of extra support in certain areas. So initially we'll be working on things like phonogram review or correct letter formation, proper printing, proper spacing when you're printing. We'll also be looking at some reading groups. She'll be going through some reading strategies. Those are learning support for Mrs. Rumbold. And then with Mrs. Lintott, she'll be doing some English language learner development with certain students in our class who are English as a second language students. So she'll be doing some things with some conversational English. She'll be talking a little bit about grammar and grammatically correct sentences, doing some vocabulary building with those students. So you may notice that your child may be involved in one or both of those two different groups, either with Mrs. Rumbold or with Mrs. Lintott, or you may notice that your child is not has not been chosen for either of those groups, and either is fine. One isn't better or worse, or your child is being singled out, or your child is not being singled out. It's nothing like that. This is how we provide support normally if we were in the classroom, and so we're trying to provide support similarly in our virtual environment that we find ourselves in. Also, your child may be having some small group pullouts this week, but then you'll notice next week they're not, or vice versa. They're not in this week, but next week they may be. So it kind of depends on what we're targeting for that week, what supports we're looking at, how many students need that support, or how many extras can we fit in a group, what's the most productive way to do it. So again, we're kind of learning as we go, but this is a little bit different this week, which is why I wanted to put forth a video. So you will notice in the the daily planner that you will have a tab called small groups. And when you click on that tab, it will take you to a page that looks like this, which has two different schedules on them. And I'll probably put the names here in a bit of a better way. So Mrs. Rumbold is the learning support teacher, and then Mrs. Lintott does our ESL at the school. So they have 15-minute time slots kind of interspaced throughout our day. Most of them occur during our independent work time. So instead of your child working on the independent work at that time, they'll go for their 15-minute pullout with either Mrs. Rumbold or Mrs. Lintott and work on the activities that they have for them at that time. There is one that happens partway through our scheduled physical education time, but because again, that's independent and you can do that lesson whenever throughout the day, you can reschedule that as you see fit. And again, it's only a 15-minute pullout time, so they won't be missing the entire time frame that they have to work on something. The other thing that's different about this is that there is a meet code. So because I'm not leading these small group pullouts, these are our learning assistants that are leading these, you cannot use our classroom meet code. So if I show you, I don't think I have our classroom open, so let me go up here, go to the waffle, and we go to Google Classroom, and we know that normally we have our classroom is right here, and then we click our meet code to join the meet here. You will not be able to do that with these small groups because it's not me leading them, it's Mrs. Lintott and Mrs. Rumbold. So you actually have to get into the meet. You still meet with them, it's a live learning session, but you have to get into it in a different way. So you'll notice on the schedule there is a meet code, and it's either LST 1B, so Learning Support 1B, or it's ELL 1B, which is English Language Learner 1B. So when we went up here to our classroom, you can't get to it from here. So you actually have to go into the app and find the meet button. And then yours looks slightly different, but yours will say enter a meet code. And if we enter LST 1B, the capitals doesn't matter, and hit continue, that's how you will get into your meet, okay? So it's a little bit different than we normally get into our meets for our class, but this is different because it is different teachers working with your students.